Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I am your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is one of the most electrifying players in all of college football. Dominated the field, whether it was in the passing game, the run game, and even a little bit of passing as well this past season. 5'9" wide receiver from the Montana Grizzlies, Michael Wortham. How's it going, Michael?
What's going on, man? Feeling good, feeling great.
Hey, you did great this past season, man. Excited to have seen what you got to do this past year with the Grizzlies. Transferred over there from Eastern Washington and just made an immediate impact. Ended up going from the quarterback position to the wide receiver position, which for most would be a very tough change of pace. It was not tough for you at all. You took it, you ran with it literally, and smoked every defender that you went against. And we're going to talk about this season here in a sec. But first, I want to talk about your accolades, talk about the the man, the awards behind the man, behind the player, in a quick segment that I like to call resume rundown, where I'm going to show off some of these big time awards you had just this past season alone. I mean, consensus FCS first team All-American. When it came to that all-purpose position, you were able to do a little bit of everything for your team at a high level. Set the record for all-purpose yards with Montana, a very historic program, and you were able to set records left and right there. Also, 2025 Walter Payton Award finalist and first team All Big Sky all purpose, second team All Big Sky offense. And I could go on all day with all the different accolades that you've gotten throughout your career, obviously, but we don't have all day. So I'm going to go on ahead and start getting into the questions. And the first one talks about obviously you transfer over to Montana from Eastern Washington, like I mentioned before, and you were able to make this big time contribution, even though they utilized you in different ways compared to what Eastern Washington did. Eastern Washington had you mainly primarily with running and passing rather than in the receiving game. You ended up stepping in and being wide receiver one from game one. Talking real quick about how Montana was able to utilize your skill set to where you could make this kind of impact.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's all goes to Eastern, man. I mean, Coach Pease kind of took a page out of their book, and when I first got on my visit, we talked about many things on how I could be utilized throughout the offense, stuff like that. So like it was fairly the same. He actually went over a few plays that we went over at Eastern, and he was like, "Man, we could just incorporate these plays, but like primarily, we just want you to be the receiver. We want you to be the guy to." Come in here, be kind of that leader, that senior for everybody, and yeah, man. I mean, it worked out great, Thankful for the opportunity he gave, so awesome to go and scheme each and every week from shoot, even in spring ball, it was awesome, and the adjustment was a little rough at first, but I mean, it all said and done, it was just amazing to end the way I did.
Yeah, obviously had an incredible season, and you were one of the few new pieces to this offense where a majority of their offensive starting lineup returned from a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. I know your guys' quarterback, your main running back, Eli Gilman, who was absolutely unstoppable this year. Brooks Davis, I believe he redshirted last year, but still has a season where he's learning the system, learning the offense. You're coming in, this is your first year, you're learning everything right off rip. How would you say you were able to blend in early as a new piece to this veteran group that's used to the Montana way, and how did they help get you incorporated there early?
I'll start with how they helped me. Really, I mean, as anybody learns, you come in and you get with some guys and they go over plays and stuff and what we tend to run, things that we could expect, So all the little stuff like that before spring ball started, we got together and Kiali and some of the veteran receivers kind of just telling me the signals and what routes to run. I mean, like we said my first time being a receiver, so it was a lot more learning just those plays, just trying to get used to running routes and catching the ball, getting straight upfield and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it's still football for me. But yeah, it was just honestly getting with the guys, them teaching me the ways and stuff like that, and then slowly but surely, going through winter condo and spring ball and all that stuff, you start to slowly adapt, to the Montana way.
Yeah, and you mentioned it a couple of times how it was a little bit of an adjustment going from playing primarily quarterback from your JUCO days and even at Eastern Washington, where they utilize you a little bit more as a quarterback rather than as a receiver, to being not only a wide receiver, but arguably the wide receiver for Montana. Obviously, 1,000-yard season, doing what you did in the offensive scheme that they had there. Talk to me real quick about what that was like because you actually put up 1,000 yards more in the receiving game than you did the year prior, 2024, with Eastern Washington. Went from 209 receiving yards in 2024 to 1,224 receiving yards with 10 receiving touchdowns on 85 receptions. Also added in 7 rushing touchdowns, had a passing touchdown, had 5 games total on the season where you had 100 plus receiving yards. Talk to me real quick about that transition for you and how you were able to become this elite level receiver.
Oh man, I mean, just kind of studying the game, I did a lot of learning from just my teammates in general, we can't emphasize it enough. It's just being in a different position. You kind of need to learn different techniques. Like, I mean, every position has its uniqueness, and I just feel like receiver is just so much more smoother. You have to kind of the way you get in and out of routes, catch the ball. Like it was so many different things I had to learn. So I'm constantly out staring at my teammates. Hopefully they didn't think I was weird in the beginning. I'm just trying to see how they're running routes and how I could incorporate that, into my route running as well. And obviously watching NFL players, some also star college players, and it just kind of I kept staring at it. I'm like, man, like how am I gonna be able to comfortably move, and show that, even though it's my first year receiver, that show that I've been doing receiver for years or whatever, So I just continue to study my teammates, study whoever I could, and constantly just staying on jug machine and just try to get into that receiver mentality, And so it just ended up working out for the better.
Yeah, and I mean, throughout the season, those games that really came up clutch for your team, you had 132 receiving yards, 2 tutties against Sacred Heart. FCS second round of the playoffs, you had 113 receiving yards with a touchdown against South Dakota State. And then the quarterfinals against South Dakota, 201 receiving yards with 2 touchdowns. So absolutely incredible. And with big time numbers comes big time highlights. And I know you remember this segment from last time I had you on that we're about to get into talking about these big time plays in a segment that I like to call Make That Play, where I once again put together my list of what I feel like were your top 3 plays from this past season. And obviously, you had a lot of them. So it took me a while to get through and find just 3 for this list. But obviously, I'm just a fan in the stands. I'm just a stats guy. You're the one on the field doing what you do best. So, what would you say was your best play from this past season?
Ooh, ooh, that is a good one. I did have a lot of plays. I'll say the one that meant the most to me was the Sac State game. Obviously, I had 3 touchdowns, so I would say the long, what was it, 70-yard receiving touchdown or whatever it was. That one was like it meant so much. That game meant so much to me, just from the history. I mean, I've explained it on some interviews, but I mean, just the history of them overlooking me 3 times and me being back home, and I didn't get to perform when I was at Eastern in front of them the last time. So I mean, it was just so much that went into that game. Like I just felt like that was just one of the most powerful moments in this year for me. But people probably want to call that my best play. So I'll probably say,
Well, believe it or not, that is not actually on. I do have a Sacramento State touchdown, but that is not, that one was like 4 or 5 for me when I came down to my final 3.
yeah,
But I do have a Sacramento State touchdown in there for you at number
yeah,
2. But I'm going to start off at number 3 here for you, actually, because I started this off with a 22-yard touchdown reception against number 8 Idaho earlier on in the season, where you ended up running down the sideline, cut back in to catch the ball over the defender. Defender is right there on your hip. You make a fantastic catch, and while being tackled, you ended up getting the foot on the ground before going out the back line of the end zone for a big time touchdown there. So that I have at number 3. Number 2, Sacramento State rushing touchdown, 28-yard rushing touchdown, where
yeah.
you guys were in wildcat formation. You faked the handoff, took off to the left side, juked past one defender, absolutely broke his ankles, and ran down the sideline before trucking another defender to get into the end zone for a touchdown score. So that I have at number two. Number one, first game of the season against Central Washington, 76-yard touchdown reception against them, where you started the season off with a bang, caught a quick route, very quick, right off rip on the sideline, broke three players' ankles, boom, 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 before just torching everyone to get to the end zone for another big time score. So I have those at number three. Obviously, we can go on all day once again between your accolades and highlights. You performed at the highest level possible this past season in what was a dominant season overall for this Montana team, where you guys were top 10 in FCS in yards per game, fourth in points, started the season off with an 11-0 run to really climb up in those rankings. I believe you guys were up there in the top five throughout pretty much the entire season in the top 25 polls. Talk to me real quick about the success that went into this season, into not only making it to the FCS playoffs, but also earning a first round bye with the performances you guys had.
Oh man, it just came down to mentality at the end of the day. I mean, the Montana way, just being tough, knowing your assignments. I mean, it's a team sport. Everybody knew their job, knew what they had to do, and I just feel like everybody was just so bought in from the first game all the way into the last, and so I just feel like this is the mentality that we had. I mean, we only lost to one team, and so we just continue to push out there and no matter who it was, man, we are just coming out there to win and do what we had to do. So I mean, it all came down to mentality. Everybody wanted to be great, buying in, and so that just ultimately, just went towards our success.
Yeah, finished the season off 13-2 overall, 7-1 in Big Sky action. Like I mentioned before, 11-0 to start the season. Absolutely incredible. Had dominant wins over teams like Indiana State, 63-20, and even grabbed some close wins against your former team in Eastern Washington, 29-24, able to
Yep.
have a little bit of bragging rights over some of your former teammates there, and ended up going into the FCS playoffs, first round bye. Second round, you guys ended up playing South Dakota State, 50-29, dominant win there. Ended up going on to play South Dakota in the quarterfinals, 52-22 win in that game as well. Talk to me real quick about this postseason following bye in the first round. Now you guys are getting back into it. Some of these other teams had, a week where they were already playing. You guys are coming in fresh, hopefully fully healthy from what I understood. And obviously you got these two dominant wins. So talk to me real quick about those first two rounds in the FCS playoffs.
Oh man, it was great. Like you said, that first round bye, really helped with our bodies. More than shoot, I thought it would help me. And yeah, we just came out there. Obviously the first opponent that we had was South Dakota State. And given the history, beat them. They beat Montana 2 years ago for national championship, and then took them out the playoffs last year as well. So a little bit of animosity underneath us, kind of just wanted to fire us up because we get another chance at these guys. And I mean, I haven't played them, but it feels like I have. The way we were talking about it, and yeah, I mean, we just came out there just full head of steam. We knew what we just got to do, take care of our job. It's game by game. You win, you keep going. You lose, you go home. So. We just want to make sure we weren't the guys going home, so after that first game, it was amazing. Props to South Dakota State and what they did. But we came out there and dominated, and as well as South Dakota, we knew they were a great offense. Obviously, 47-0 against Mercer the week before. So we just knew that okay, they have a great offense. Defense is good enough to hold a great Mercer team to 0 points. So we just knew once again locking on our assignments. You do what we got to do. So we just continue to push. Continue to keep our heads down, regardless of how sore we were or whatever. We just continue to keep going. And at the end of the day, just perseverance. We're just doing what we got to do to get the job done.
Absolutely, man. And you guys were able to do that throughout a majority of the season. There was one bump in the road on the year. You mentioned before you guys only lost to one team that came twice on the season, unfortunately, and that was Montana State, who in the regular season, you guys hung strong with them. It was a field goal decision, 31-28 loss in the regular season before heading into the playoffs, I believe, and then met them in the semifinals where It just unfortunately didn't go your guys' way once again. Talking real quick about these two matchups going against this very tough opponent. I believe they were the number two overall seed. You guys were the number three overall seed. So the best of the best in the FCS still going at it against one another. Talking real quick about going against that team.
Oh man, I mean, they're a great team, you know. Obviously our rivals, you know, so the little feelings is different towards them. But I mean, jokes aside, they're a great team. You know, they had a good recipe for us. You know, both sides of the ball. You know, first time meeting them, we had so many games back to back to back to back. It was kind of wear and tear on our bodies. You know, trying to get out there and fight as much as we could. You know, so unfortunately, yeah, blocked field goal, some touchdowns got called back. Things didn't go our way. They ended up winning the game. It was all good. You know, we wanted another shot at these guys, and God gave us another shot anyway. You know, and it's just coming into the semifinal game, and um, we're feeling good. Started off slow offensively, even defensively, really, but offensively, I just kind of hold us to a higher standard. And yeah, it's just we ended up swinging the momentum, got back up, and just losing some guys to injury and all that stuff. It just kind of limits you. When we had two main guys on offense that was heavy in the game plan, and we got some guys on defense, a targeting call that took out, one of our best safeties, and our one of our corners that just came back got hurt, So it's just a lot of things we kind of endured during that game, and it was rough. We kept pushing through. I mean, obviously the clock didn't say zero. The times those things happen, so we kept going, and it was rough. It sucks, man. You lose the same team twice. It's unfortunate, but I said if they beat us again, they deserve it, and I feel like they'll win off that. I feel like whoever won that game was going to win the national championship. So I'm confident that they'll probably win it. Like I said, it sucks to say that, being at the school I'm at, but props to them. You can't really be mad if they beat you twice. They did good. They had a better game plan for us, and we just didn't have what we needed. We didn't execute the way we needed to. So unfortunately, that was the only team we didn't execute against. But it is what it is. Thankful for the opportunity to even get that far. So it's been a blessing.
Oh, absolutely. And I completely agree with you going into that game. I was even telling some of my friends that were FCS fans, they were keeping track of the FCS playoffs as well. I said, this is the championship game. All due respect to the other side of the bracket, this is championship game right here. And obviously, you guys had a great year overall. You yourself, a fantastic career between the junior college ranks, Eastern Washington, what you did there, and then obviously wrapping it up in style with the Montana Grizzlies. Talk to me real quick about your career, real quick overall. What was it like for you to be able to wrap up your collegiate career in this kind of fashion after having to go through the JUCO ranks, fight for a spot at Division One level, go to Eastern Washington, prove yourself there, and then obviously this fantastic season now?
Oh man, I mean, nothing short of a blessing, man. I'm like, it's so much things that just happened throughout the years, and I mean, I've never made the playoffs prior to this year. I had I think three losing seasons and one winning season, but really it was 6-5 in JUCO. So it's just like it's been a blessing, man. I mean, the whole entire ride, and all the different positions I played. It's so crazy to look back at, like dang, I really did all those positions. I did all this stuff, all these accolades and stuff like that. But I'm just extremely grateful. I'm so thankful for all the coaches that I've met that gave me the opportunity to showcase my talent and stuff like that. And I mean, just ending it here. I mean, the fan base, the people here, the school. I mean, all of it has just been so great to me and my family, and like I said, prior to this year, never made the playoffs. So the fact that we almost got to the national championship, and you know, really only we lost to one team, and almost we played for basically two championships, and so yeah, I mean it's just been so awesome, man. Just this is the stuff I prayed for, and God's been delivering, each and every step. So every step has been a milestone. I'm so thankful, I mean, just coming from JUCO, everybody wants to go Division 1 from JUCO or whatnot, and so I only had one offer. That was Montana or Eastern Washington, and they did what they had to do with me and helped me in my journey and stuff like that, So I'm just extremely thankful in this whole journey, this whole opportunity that each and every school has gave me.
Absolutely, man. And I know that you've talked very highly of the teammates around you. This team obviously was just something special. A whole lot of great guys, both on offense and defense, as you mentioned before. And just like last time, you get to shout some people out in this segment that we're about to get into called Who's Up Next, where you can recommend once again some people for me to have on this Slim Sports podcast, get their names out there, talk about their seasons, their careers, just as you're doing now. So, who would you say is up next on the Slim Sports podcast?
I'm gonna give it to it could be any age, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to my boy Kiali, a quarterback. I feel like he's destined for greatness. I could really say two, Brooks Davis as well. Those two right there, man. I mean, they're young, but they're definitely good enough. And their name will be ringing bells next year as well. So, but Kiali, man, that's my guy, and yeah, he's gonna be very dominant in the next few years too. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that quarterback for you guys, he was slinging it left and right. Obviously, you had over 1,000 yards receiving. Somebody had to be throwing you that ball, and he did a tremendous job at
Yeah.
that. And Brooks Davis, as a redshirt freshman, wow, that guy was insane this year. So, got to give them credit where credit is due. And obviously, you yourself, now you're looking to continue your career, I believe, at the professional ranks, because I believe you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I never know with eligibility anymore. You're out of college eligibility, and now you are able to go to the professional ranks and hopefully make an NFL roster next season. I fully believe next time I have you on, I'll have an NFL Michael Wortham autographed jersey in the background, man. Talk to me real quick about what you're doing to really improve this offseason and better your chances at making an NFL roster.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll just be going off to train, man. You know, do what I gotta do, man, just to step foot on that field, man. It'll just be a blessing to even hear my name be called, and I know everything's up to me and the roster and stuff like that. But yeah, man, just training as hard as I can, man, day by day. Just trying to keep my body healthy, recover from any bumps and bruises from the season, and yeah, just stay close to family and get ready for that draft, man.
Hey, any NFL GMs or scouts that might watch this, draft this dude. You need a Swiss Army knife, receiver, quarterback, running. We didn't even talk about your kick return skill set. I mean, you can do literally anything that a team asks of you. I fully believe that you deserve and will get a shot in the NFL, man. Always happy to have you on. You have one of the best personalities that I get to have on the podcast every year. And with your career, obviously, we have a lot that we get to talk about. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, getting ready for the NFL ranks to hop on this podcast once again and do an amazing interview. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.